Okay, good, good. Welcome back to another episode of The Bracket. Yeah, I am Don Taylor, and we are going to get this thing going. We got my main man, Janae Walker. How you doing, brother?
What up? What up?
Yeah, come on, come on. So this is a final of the long form episodes where we're going to walk through the teams we selected to be in the bracket for this best single season in sports history. Now, we're going to do something a little different than probably other brackets that just tell you who is going to be in there. You've heard us say it before. We're going to have the people's choice. So you all will tell us who you think should be in the bracket, anyone we've missed. This should be, if all goes well, we'll get the last few teams in there. We'll then be able to see the whole list. And before we kick things off, we need you to submit to us. You have six places to choose now, six places in the bracket where you say, hey, I want this team, I want that team, or whatever. We prefer you keep it to the major sports in America, North America, largely the United States and Canada. Just a little easier for everyone to rationalize it there. I promise we're probably going to have some sort of a one for soccer slash football all by itself because those arguments can get heated and none of us is trying to get run out of town. So,
Or
so
shot.
for the or shot, yeah. So I want to go to Dynamo games. I don't want to hear from nobody. Hey, you forgot about Fluminense or something. So let's talk about the next set of teams we're going to go in the bracket with. This will hopefully wrap things up, and we are rolling to the People's Choice Selection Show. Get on our Facebook page to start voting. Have a good time, interact, talk in the comments, argue about it. Get heated, come chill out, get heated all
hmm
over again. Let's have some fun. All right, let's kick things off. Do
Yeah.
you want to
So
start? You're going to start them
yeah,
up this time? Yeah.
I think I will start it off this time.
Yes, yes, yes.
And as Don said, yeah, we're gonna go. We previously said it was two teams that was going to be in the players viewers choice. It has now expanded to six teams. So
Go to
we have
six.
six teams that we need you guys to select on your behalf. And always, as always, please subscribe to our channel. Again, this is an infant channel. This is a little baby channel right now that we're hoping that
Mm-hmm.
will grow into a strapping young buck. And so we need those subscriptions, we need those likes, we need everything. Notification, hit the notification button. And also, please join our Facebook page for the actual voting. Um,
Yes.
we will have it down in the description, the link to our Facebook page, The Bracket Brothers. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, very interactive between us and you, the audience. And that's how we like it. We're setting them up, you're knocking them down,
Come on with it.
right?
Man, I'm looking forward to this. And deal me. So my man, let's go
You
get them.
you want me to start?
Yeah, go for it, man. Go
You
for it.
want
Then
you
I'll
want
come
me
on
to
the other
start?
side. Yeah, why
Okay.
not?
All right. Let me see. I had an idea of who I wanted to put down. So we only have from our original list, we only have 12 teams left. And I'm just trying to see how I want to start this one. I want to start this one pretty nice. So let me see, I have one that I can think of. Let me go back up to the list. I thought I had who I wanted, but maybe I don't. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is what I want to start with.
All
This one right
right,
here.
there we go.
All right. So let's start off with a pretty big juggernaut of a team.
Uh-oh. Just
The
got you.
the 1990 UNLV Running Rebels. So
Oh boy.
yeah, yeah,
Oh boy.
this is we still have some strong teams in this.
Mm,
Every team that we are talking about, they are strong in some sort of way, people. So if you weren't around in the 1990s,
mm,
let me tell you about UNLV. This is a team that had it all. It came together, and it all came together for the Revs this season. They were led by names like Stacey Augmon, Anderson Hunt, and a future NBA legend named Larry Johnson.
yes.
This team went 35 and 5 on the year, and easily they won their Big West Conference. After a tough win against Ball State in the NCAA tournament, they stopped the Cinderella team, the Cinderella story of Loyola Marymount, by thrashing them 131 to 101. And that propelled them into the
Mm,
Final Four. After defeating Georgia Tech in the Final Four game, they went on to go up against the perennial powerhouse Duke Blue Devils.
yes.
Uh, they squashed them.
Oh,
They
yeah,
did. They
yeah.
squashed them. They
Oh, yeah.
squashed
Oh,
them with the largest lopsided victory in tournament history, beating them 103 to 73 and
yeah.
winning the
Woo-hoo,
championship.
woo-hoo.
The only team more impressive looking was their return team of the 1990-91 season, who went undefeated until
Yeah,
their Final Four loss of the same year.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, talk
Yeah,
about it.
the running rebels. You talk about just it's a team. I think this is probably a team people were afraid to play. Um,
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
it
sure.
was beaten before you got there. It, it's a team that we still talk about. I mean, we're talking about it here, but the basketball guys, they talk about some of the greatest basketball teams in college basketball. It's the running rebels. Not a big fan of not a big fan of that mascot, but on Juneteenth. But the running rebels 1990 is
By the
just
way, by the way, I'm so sorry. I meant to mention it before, but happy Juneteenth to
oh,
you,
it happens to you too, brother. Oh
and
yeah.
happy Juneteenth to all of you Texans out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and all the black folk, and
Mm-hmm.
let's hope that it's not too commercialized back in America when we get
Uh,
back.
it probably
That
is, but
it
it's
probably
okay.
is.
Anyway, go ahead.
Mattress sales and everything else. Okay, so yeah, Hennessy's half off. Come on now. Like, oh Jesus. Mm.
Oh my
All right,
God.
so here we go. So the running rebels. Four players made it. Were drafted into the NBA. I'll go backwards. George Ackles with the Heat. Greg Anthony with the New York Knicks. Stacey
Mm-hmm.
Augmon with the Atlanta Hawks. And my
Yeah,
boy my Charlotte Hornets, Larry Johnson,
Grandmama.
Grandmama himself, Larry Johnson. Why that man dressed in drag on? Never know. Uh, Anderson, so Larry Johnson, first team All American, Stacey Augmon, NABC Defensive Player of the Year. The team was so dominant. I mean, we're talking, this is Duke Blue Devils. We talked with them in another video. The Blue Devils, this is right at that time that they were just owning people. Georgia
Mm-hmm.
Tech with Clemens, Coach Clemens was killing people, and they killed them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
This
yeah, you look.
this was a great time in college basketball, by the way.
This was the
Just
time, was it not?
there was just so many great teams out there. You can't even forget. Don't forget teams like Arkansas,
Oh
the
yeah,
Razorbacks,
yeah. 40 minute,
man.
40 minutes of hell. Yep.
Yeah, Syracuse. There were so many good teams in this era, and UNLV just kind of like giant stomped on all of them during
Yeah.
1990, during 1989, 1990.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Greg Anthony, another unbelievable player. I think what it was is that they had unbelievable size and unbelievable speed at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They looked like an NBA team almost.
Mm-hmm.
They did not look like a college team. They looked like an NBA team. They were ready to run. They were ready to just like dismantle you. Especially Stacey Augmon and Larry Johnson.
Oh yeah.
These two were
This
just they were They were
250 pounds, 6'7", just
and could run.
and can go.
He could
And
go.
can go.
He had a battery in his back.
Yeah. And then the coach was a scary guy, Jerry Tarkanian, as well. That guy, I'm looking at his picture now. He looks like he was in the mafia himself. I think he may be ethnically Armenian actually, but that last name. But yeah, it's yeah, the Sartanian. I think there was a year or two later there was some shenanigans they think with the way they play fast loose at NCAA rules, and so he went
Hmm.
to coach in the pros for the Spurs not long after this. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the greatest, one of the greatest teams. I do think if there ever was a team, and they're averaging what is it, uh,
Uh, I can't remember. They
16
averaged.
and two, 16 and two in conference. Don't
Hmm.
know who they beat, who they lost to. They're probably fooling around, and you just didn't know. Yeah, they lost to Kansas and Oklahoma early on. They lost New Mexico State, interesting one. They lost to LSU. UC Santa Barbara they lost to back in the day, in what they call the Thunderdome. Very nice. And then by
Hmm.
the time you got to the woo, by the time you got to the actual tournament itself,
Yeah, it was. It
it was an
was.
absolute wrap.
It
It was
was
an
almost a
absolute wrap.
cakewalk. All
Yeah,
right,
it was.
so
Yeah, okay, good deal,
yeah,
good deal,
that's a great team. I think that's
great
such a
team,
great team.
great team.
All right,
Okay.
let's go on to
Let's keep
number
it going.
two.
Keep it going. Let's keep it going. We can wax poetic all day. I'm just marking it complete on my list as well. So yeah, so let's switch gears completely different.
All
Same
right,
same
go
general
for it.
time frame, totally different sport. The 1992 Pittsburgh Penguins of the
Yeah,
NHL, the Pens. So
yeah.
the season started off on a sad note. Their head coach, Bob Johnson, was diagnosed with cancer. He passed away in November 1991. But Scott Bowman, oh yeah, came to head the team, and they led the league with 343 goals. They were 20th in defense and allowed 308 goals. They traded for their star Paul Coffey. Oh yeah, barely getting into the playoffs though. The Pens needed to prove they had something to fight for. They were defending their Stanley Cups, so they're previously winners, and winning for the head coach that got them there. Surprising everyone, they beat the Capitals, they beat the Rangers, and they beat the Bruins to meet the Blackhawks in the Stanley Cup Finals. Oh,
My
to hear
Blackhawks.
these names in this year, oh man, of those years, my goodness,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
were on a and they were on a record winning streak of they won 11 straight in those playoffs. The Pens equalized that streak by beating the Blackhawks, then going on sweeping them in the finals, making them back-to-back champions in their first two final appearances, winning with two different head coaches. We're talking not only dominance, but also a story, losing their previous head coach to cancer and getting another guy in there inspired. I mean, this may be one of the better stories for Pittsburgh area sports, and they got a lot of them, but this may be one of them.
Yeah, when I did my research for this team, I only knew a little bit about this team from back then. I knew that they were back to back winners.
Yes.
I knew that they had. I think this was the first time of me hearing about Paul Coffey,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, when you think about this story, this is a great,
Oh
unbelievable,
yeah.
tragic, and redemption story for anyone to like grab a hold of. You know, you lose your coach to to cancer,
Cancer. Yeah.
and you're in the process of not only having to mourn, but you have to find another coach and you have to defend your title. And of course, you're not going to be in the right
Mm-hmm.
mind all the time. I mean, this is something that you really have to. This is what athletes are made of. This is what when people talk about athletes. This is what people think about as a not only as an athlete, a real athlete, but a real team. You know, when you
Yeah.
come together and you can, achieve something, some semblance of winning.
Oh yeah.
This is it. to go against the Blackhawks of that time, the
Oh,
Chicago
in them
Blackhawks,
days,
which
Jesus
which
Christ.
again, I don't look at a lot of hockey, but
Yeah.
the Blackhawks were my team in those
Okay.
years.
Okay. Okay.
Jeremy Roenick, oh my goodness, uh, Jeremy Roenick, Chris Chelios of that time. These were
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
were like
Because
gods to me.
the video game came out that year, perhaps.
And
It was a similar to NBA Jam, but for hockey. So I got a lot of those guys
yeah,
becoming
NHL
household
hockey,
names. NHL
dude,
hockey, it was in the arcade, and it was I
and
loved playing that. I
and
like to
it,
be
and, and it was on
the Russian guy.
Sega. Oh my god, and it was on
Yeah.
Sega. And oh, the first year was not that good. The second and third year,
Mhm.
those were much better. But yeah, we
Yeah.
don't. I don't want to talk about that because
Yeah, but it's my video game. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that takes me to
Takes time away.
another
Yeah, that's a
lane.
whole nother
But
game. Yeah.
yeah, when that game came out, I was Chicago. That was my
Oh
team.
yeah.
I was Chicago. So when you think about this team, Pittsburgh, they beat Chicago in the finals, and the streak that they had to go on. Chicago had a streak of just whipping everyone until they got to the finals, and then, as you said, Pittsburgh, they started their own streak by
Hmm.
beating them. This is an unbelievable story, and
Yeah, it's a hell of a story.
it's one of those stories that you really have to kind of ingest and go, wow, this is really
Yeah.
kind of amazing. That's kind of an amazing
Yeah.
story. Final
Oh yeah.
thoughts.
And then final thoughts. One player that we didn't mention in the build-up, Mario Lemieux
Thank you very much.
Was their guy. Yeah, and at the time he won everything he could win. He won the Conn Smythe, the Art Ross Trophy, NHL second All-Star team, Food Land Most Valuable Player Award, sure. Booster Club Award, sure. Bowser Pontiac Leading Point Scorer Award. Other guys that won, Phil Bork, I mean, Edward J. Bartolo Community Service Award, because they got a lot of community awards. Troy Loney got a Community Service Award.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Murphin got the Good Guy Award. I mean, it was one of those teams that everybody wanted to do the right thing, as well as play just god awful hard nosed hockey. They even got the Rookie of the Year, Jim Pack, won the Rookie of
Wow.
the Year. I'm saying his name properly. So it just a really stacked team. I don't know. It's. I don't think the Pens got reached that level again until they got Sidney Crosby back in there. Got in there, 15 years later. So, um, heck yeah, 92 Pens. I think they definitely should be in this map.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. And
All right.
this one's gonna be a little bit. I would say that this will be a little controversial
Okay.
because this is a very recent team, but I'm
Mm.
going to go with the 2020 Oregon Lady Ducks.
Okay. Come on.
Yeah, so
Come on.
this is one of the few what could have been teams that doesn't involve a loss,
Hmm.
but actually it involves something worse.
Yeah.
Led by Sabrina Ionescu, this team seemed unstoppable.
Yeah.
They had a 31-2 record, beating their opponents by an average of 28 points per game and capturing the Pac-12 title by beating two of the top 15 schools. They looked ready to take on UConn, but again, this is the year 2020. So we all know what goes on with the year 2020. And just like any
Mm.
sporting event, the tournament was shut down due to the vid. I don't even know if we can say that on YouTube still. I know some people they say it. I don't know if we can. I don't know if you can
Oh,
still
really?
say it. Yeah.
Oh,
So I'll just say the
so the
vid
pandemic. Maybe say pandemic.
or
You
the
say
pandemic.
pandemic.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah, if for some reason it's blocked for some
Yeah,
reason. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. So the Lady Ducks never got a chance to prove themselves, but I think they are worth recognizing. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Really, really good stuff. They had a 31-2 record. They really whew, oh boy, this year, huh? Really, 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 really acquitted themselves well. and I'm looking at the schedule now, and it just abruptly halts.
Yeah. I
It's
mean, but if when you think about it, they averaged they beat their
they
opponents
beat
by an
Stanford.
average.
Yeah,
Okay, right.
yeah. So you're beating Stanford by over 30 points.
Jesus Christ.
Number seven Stanford.
Yeah.
And this may be the Stanford. I don't know if Cameron Brink was on this Stanford team, but you're beating
20. No, no, not
not 2020,
2020.
till too soon. They beat number 13 Arizona by 18 points. They beat number 8 Utah. This is all the Pac-12 tournament, so
Mm-hmm.
that's the best chance. That's the best thing we have by 20 points. The only game they dropped was to Arizona State and to Louisville. Louisville,
Mm,
they played in the islands somewhere, St. Thomas and Arizona State. Okay, they lost that one on the road by
yeah.
only 7 points, 8 points. So it's and this. I don't know how many championships the Oregon Ducks have won in women's ball.
They
Um,
have. I don't think they have
so
actually.
it's like because we talked about in the previous video the dominance of the Pat Summits and the Gino Oriamas at Tennessee and UConn respectively. Uh, so for them with Sabrina Ionesco, I keep saying the name improperly. The fact that they kicked that much butt that year is not insignificant at all.
Nope, it
Um,
isn't.
and 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 they didn't get the chance, so it's a hell of a story as well. I mean, look at the way
Yeah,
they ran through the Pac-12. Is no guarantee in women's college basketball, but it's still the NCAA tournament. They can mess around and get upset by FAMU. You never know. But
hmm
it's just one of those things that we have. I think it's a really quality one. I was surprised you put it in here, but I like the idea of this. A really great team that never got to finish out the season,
yeah.
which maybe could make it a candidate for the best season.
You could. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Let's go
Okay,
to
this
number.
is
Let's go to the
all right.
fourth one.
So let's stay with the women then. Let's go
Okay.
20 years in the past
I knew
to
you
the
were gonna do it.
2002, the LA Sparks.
I knew
Sparks
you
are
was
gonna
gonna do that.
fly with the Sparks. All right, so the Sparks wanted to do what the Comets did, everyone's Houston Comets did, and win
Hmm.
back-to-back championships. It started with Lisa Leslie and head coach Michael Cooper. And after finally defeating the four-time champion Comets, they won their first title and came back for more. They won 25-7 on the year, a league best. They went undefeated in the postseason, sweeping everybody 6-0 for their only back-to-back title. So the LA Sparks 2002 beating the Comets, who we know was absolute 100% complete dominance in the
Hmm.
WNBA in the early years.
Yeah. I think if I am being very honest, I
Hmm.
think the reason why this team is being mentioned is because of who they beat.
Yeah.
You have to understand that for the first 4 years of the WNBA, the Houston Comets were king or queen. They were
Queens.
queens
Yeah, the
of
Queens.
the
Yeah.
they were queens of the WNBA. They dominated every year. They got to whenever they got to the finals, forget about it. They're gonna find a way to win. They had the dominant year in '98. Cynthia Cooper was just the dominant player. Cheryl
Yep.
Swoops was basically the second most dominant player in the
Pretty
league.
much. Yep.
And they had a great starting lineup. They had a great bench. They had a great coach. They had everything. And so when you have a team like that and you finally break through and you beat that team in the
Mm,
playoffs, that says something about you.
yes.
And I think Lisa Leslie was honestly, I think Lisa Leslie was pissed off finally. She finally got
Okay.
pissed off
Yeah.
because because if you go back, and a lot of you
Hmm.
probably won't remember this, in '96 when they had the announcement of the WNBA, and for that entire year, they had poster children. They had three people that they were just putting in front so people could say, come watch this league. And Lisa Leslie was one of those people, and
Yep.
she was coming off the Olympic gold medal win in '96. her, I think her and Cheryl Swoops was there. I can't remember. Um, so it was
Uh,
her, it was her, it was Cheryl Swoops, it was
okay.
Rebecca Lobo. These were the poster women for the WNBA. And Lisa's team in LA was just not as good. They just weren't. They just weren't as good as Houston. They weren't as good as Phoenix. And it just, I think it just finally got to her where she was like, I have to be my dominant self now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And yeah, so I think so, let's say a spark finally came around for
Oh
her.
yeah. Oh yeah. And what also sparked is that Michael Cooper at the time, because the stories on the internet about this team came up when the Aces did their back to back, and they talk about the last time it happened was this team here, and
Uh-huh.
how Lisa Leslie won the Triple Crown, All Star MVP, regular season MVP, and Finals MVP. So it's really um, they beat, of course, they beat my Charlotte Sting in the they lost to the Charlotte Sting earlier on, my team, but otherwise largely just made hay of the WNBA in that year. Um,
Yeah.
just made hay of it. It made it more of a pretty largely a marquee franchise. Before then, it was just the Comets. That's all people really knew. It seemed like, and now here come the
Yeah.
Sparks,
Yeah.
back to back. You
Yeah.
love to see it.
And again, like you said, the last team to go back to back is just recently with the Vegas Aces. So
Yep, that's
that's
right.
a
That's
that
right.
is a
That's right.
that says something. So
Oh, yes, it does.
let's go to the next one. My turn. Yes. Yes,
Yes,
it's
yes,
my
yes.
turn. All right. I'm going to go. Oh, yes. Yeah. I actually want to talk about this one. I'm going to go
Hmm.
with the 1978 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we know that defense as the Steel Curtain, one of the all-time great defenses in NFL history, actually took a back
Hmm.
seat to their offense. The implementation of
Oh yeah.
The implementation of the Mel Blunt rule, prohibiting contact with wide receivers 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, was thought to handcuff their defense, but it only opened up their offense, boosting Terry Bradshaw to an MVP winning season.
Hmm.
Already multiple winners, this team was the topping of a dynastic franchise's cake. An impressive 17-2 record, including the playoffs. They scored 33, 34, and 35 points in the playoffs, capping with a win over Dallas Cowboys.
Oh
While the
yeah.
defense held all those teams to 17 points over the first, to that team, sorry, held them to 17 points over the first 57 minutes of the game. Some say they were others. Some say there were other Steelers teams that were better, but this team made them legendary.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now you look at the Steelers and the stats is like what 538. They love crunching their numbers. They have this
Mm-hmm.
down as statistically as of September 2015 as the 35th best team in NFL history. The NFL had it as their third best team in NFL
Thank,
history on their
thank
100th
you,
year anniversary. So
thank
if
you.
538 getting things wrong once again. So yeah, it's really they were featured in the America's Game, all the Super Bowl champions, America's game, and all of that. It's just one of those legendary teams. And then when you think of the Pro Bowl selections on this, yeah, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swan, Mike Webster, Joe Green, Mean Joe Green,
Mean Joe
Jack
Green.
Jack Ham,
Ah,
the reserves for the Pro Bowl, Franco Harris, Elsie
mm.
Greenwood, Jack Lambert, Donna Shell, and of course Mel Blount himself.
These are
And
legendary people. These are
yeah, and
people
all
that
oh
when you
yeah.
talk about football, these are people that you understand them, even if it isn't part of your era. These are people that you
Hmm.
understand were absolute legends of the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's really just one of those teams that just had no problem at all in the NFL in those years. Super hard hitting. Nobody was trying to play the Steelers. And I know they talk about how Terry Bradshaw wasn't that great of a quarterback. In all reality, it was Lynn Swan bailing him out in the Mel Blount rule, helping him out.
Mm-hmm.
But in all reality, MVP of the Super Bowl, just winning everything. You cannot discount what the 78 Steelers did for the NFL. The big game against Dallas, of course, for the Super Bowl. You can't there's no way to deny it. The NFL has a number three overall, and there's a reason that they chose that. So we'll
Yeah,
see what we choose over here
exactly.
as well.
All right, number six.
All right,
Go
so
for it.
let's keep it going. Oh man, we're reeling them off, reeling them off. All
Well, there's
right,
only two
so
left.
since I know you're not going to do it, I'm going to go ahead and go with the '86 Boston Celtics. No, no, since you ain't going, you're going to keep going around it. Oh man, the '86 Celts. Man, these boys. So we're talking about the Larry Bird Celtics. So they won't be staying. You don't want to stay long on this one. I know you're not a Celtics guy, but they pulled off the impossible, losing only one home game their entire season. No, including the playoffs. No one's trying to go to the Garden for anything. Larry Bird won his third straight MVP that year. They defeated the Rockets in the finals, capping off the greatest season the Celts have ever had. So it's really one of those things with the Celtics. Uh, it was impossible. It was nearly impossible to beat them in this year. It was
Yeah,
hard to beat them in general, but this
you
year in particular is
you
really
can
difficult to knock
you
them back.
can you can go ahead and look up the stats. I'll speak for a second because
Yeah, sure.
I actually was this was actually probably going to be my next pick. Just
Oh, okay.
not to just get it out of the way, but just to to show I'm not that much of a Celtics hater, but
Hmm.
I but this is one of the years that I truly remember. This is like the beginning of my basketball fandom. Near the beginning. I think I was like
Hmm.
10 years old when this happened.
Sure, sure, sure,
And
sure.
I remember, I remember that entire season because I understood it was Lakers versus Celtics and everything. And every time the Celtics was on TV, it was just like, oh, I gotta look at them. Oh, I hate them. Good, whatever. And and seeing people like Dennis Johnson and especially Bill Walton, what he did for that team.
Oh yeah.
People forget that they had a legend coming off the bench in Bill Walton, an MVP coming off the bench, and what he did for that team was truly amazing. I don't
Yeah.
think I'm not sure, but I don't think there's ever been an MVP who has won and has also won later in his career the six man of the year, but he did it.
Yeah.
And I remember game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. I thought the Lakers would
Mm.
pull it out, and Ralph Sampson makes that shot. It was the only time, even when I was young, it was the only time that I really hated the Rockets. I was like, come on, seriously? But I had to turn around and root for the Rockets because they were playing the Celtics, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it was a cakewalk for the Celtics.
That was cakewalk, total cakewalk. I mean, it was
Hakeem
4-2. It's probably
Hakeem Olajuwon hadn't developed into the Hakeem that we know,
no, no,
because he
not a
didn't
bit.
find his H yet, and so
Hmm.
him and Ralph Sampson, though, they tried their best. I think Ralph Sampson got injured somewhere in the finals.
Okay.
I'm not absolutely sure, but yeah. I mean, I have to give it up to Larry Bird. I mean, the man
Hmm. Yeah, there's
is
no way around it.
truly the man is truly awesome. I have gained an outright respect for him over like the past few years. I can't really say anything bad about him. So when I think about the Celtics and the '86 Celtics, I basically just think about how awesome Larry Bird was, and that's all I can really say. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's really good. And I know you're not into them at all, but you look at the other names that I'm
mm,
glad you got. That talk about Bird, Danny Ainge, Rick
yeah,
Carlisle, Kevin McHale. We talked about Robert Parrish.
McHale, Robert Parrish,
People
yeah.
talk forget about Robert Parrish. Bill
No,
Walton,
no one
him.
forgets about Robert Parrish. That ugly
Oh, I know,
motherfucker.
man. We
Look,
didn't talk about yeah.
you
So,
cannot, you can't close your eyes on him. I swear to God.
hmm
Great height.
Dennis Johnson, All NBA second team as well that year.
Yep.
It's really, whew, Barry Bird got the MVP, the Finals MVP, All Star first team. I don't think I got All Star MVP, but um, you really can't discount this. The Celtics, this was that year that they talk about all the time, and it's just in the Garden in particular. It's just such a crazy place to play. They talked about that on the Winning Time show.
Mm-hmm.
That it had this mystique. It was weird. It was old feel to it. There were rats somehow going on, and the crowd was all over you when you were there. So, as Kyrie Irving, how that's worked out for him just recently. I know it's not. I don't think it's the same guard anymore. But yeah, this team was truly. It's not invincible, but it's up there. It's up
Yeah.
there. 67 and 15. Again, another record. You almost don't want to just say, just look at the pure record alone and look at, hey, they didn't sweep everybody like some of those later teams we talked, or the teams we talked about in the bracket. But this is one of those greatest teams of all time for sure.
Yeah.
All
Um,
right.
so number 7. This is me, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna pivot. I'm not gonna do what you think I'm going to do. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
But what I will do is go to the 2008 Memphis Tigers.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
So why are we mentioning this team? Well, let me tell you. Um, this was an outstanding team leading up to the national championship. Had a dynamic group led by none other than Derrick Rose. They went 38-1 in the season. They started their season 26-0 until they fell to Tennessee, but they continued being dominant right after that. They came up short again,
hmm
only in the finals against Kansas, losing in overtime 75-68. But still,
hmm
nonetheless, it was a dominant year for them.
Oh yeah. So the Tigers. So man, it just really and they didn't win it all, but just difficult to overlook what they accomplished in that year, and I think it does warrant being being on the list. Hey, added note, I didn't even know this. Kansas vacated that title, so I guess in theory they did win it all.
Right?
Strategery, yeah. So hey, yeah, Sean
You know what?
Taggart, Willie Kemp,
Yeah,
yeah,
I totally forgot about that. So
D
yeah,
Rose, Derrick Rose, of course. So yeah, hey, just really the number two overall. You can't say the undefeated Conference USA as well. So it's and of course Derrick Rose being the main man of that roster, and to some extent the NBA as well. Not the biggest Derrick Rose man in the world.
I think I mentioned this team not just because of how they started the season and what their record was, but sometimes you have to look at a team with different eyes when it comes to a season like this. Like we see Memphis now as one of those teams that you always have to
Yeah.
look out for when it comes to the NCAA tournament.
hmm
Because they're one of those powerhouse teams now. It's kind of like the same thing with Gonzaga and teams like
Oh
that.
yeah.
We talk
Oh
about that.
yeah.
You talk about when we talk about Boise State. We talk about how they became one of those powerhouse teams that you really have to look out for for a number of years. And this was the team that kind of elevated Memphis. And they've kind of held that for quite a while.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So hopefully they can make a run here. Hey, vacated titles count. So they have the title. At least title. I don't know if they have a. Did they put a banner up? I'm last time I looked at
I don't
who.
think they
I don't
did,
think he did.
but
I don't think he did all that. Yeah, you don't need. They
yeah,
just said you did. There just was not a winner
yeah,
because Kansas was cheating, and so yeah. So we're not going to. Or we're not going to. We're just not. We're just going to say it's a vacated title. So
yeah.
Memphis can counter if they want. Up to them.
Go
As
for
far
it.
as the records go, then okay, good deal.
Second, 1 second. Okay.
All right, and we're back, and we're back. Time skip. Time skip. All
All
right, good deal.
right.
All
So where
right,
did we leave off?
so let's lead. Let's get the show back going again. I want to talk a little football, and where
Okay.
we mentioned versions of this team before, but we're going to talk about in a losing effort. But we're going to talk about the year they did win it all. The 2000 Oklahoma Sooners, the Bob Stoops
Yes.
Sooners in NCAA football. The
Yes.
Sooners of the year 2000 were ready. Already ranked in the preseason, they took advantage of it and won easily in their first four games. They rose to 10th ranking when they took on three straight top 11 teams, including number one and number two, destroying all three of them, giving them the number one ranking. They held it all the way to the BCS championship and took on Florida State, where they beat the crap out of them 13-2. So Florida State only got a safety out of the deal. Nothing fancy from this team, just pure domination. 13-0 BCS era football, Oklahoma Sooners, year 2000.
Yeah, this is the team that we have been referencing
Yeah, quite often.
throughout quite
Yeah.
often. Yeah. But 2000 is why we're referencing them because they were a powerhouse. This was one of those teams that you just you know it kind of goes with the territory. If you're going to talk college football, you're going to talk
Mm,
about Oklahoma. If you're going to talk about college football, you're going to talk about Florida or Notre Dame or those teams. Oklahoma is one of those teams, and yeah, just thinking about
yeah.
this team especially, it was
Oh, yeah.
it was a great team. It was a great team. The way that they spanked people this
Oh,
year,
yeah.
I liked it. I like Oklahoma, so it was a pretty good year.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking the only game that was close was against Kansas State, who was ranked number two at the time. And you had Nebraska. Again, we're talking Nebraska here, but this is 2000
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska, and they beat them by 17 points. Uh, Texas A&M, number 23, played them close, 35-31. And then we had some really low scoring games, Bedlam, they call it Oklahoma State, rivalry games, always tough, 12-7. And then the oddball score, 13-2 over the Florida State Criminals. So it's really a great a great time, a great year for the Sooners. Only two guys drafted in the NFL out of that year, at least
Yeah,
2001. I can look up. I'm sure there were more, but you had Torrance Marshall, third round pick, and Josh Hupel, a sixth round pick. So, and like we said in the synopsis when you wrote all this up, not glamorous. It's a spread offense. I keep
yeah,
but back when as that was starting to come in vogue, but it was really just your classic. Uh, beat down team. Jason White was on that team as a freshman. I don't think, yeah, but it just one through, and it was everybody had to go through Oklahoma in this time frame
yeah,
to be considered a winner, and it's because of this year that everyone says you have to go through Oklahoma to be a winner, and probably for probably a good 5 to 10 year side on either side of it, quote later on the ladder.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a
Yeah.
cool time to be. I think it was a cool time to be a football fan during this time.
Oh, it's so much
There was
fun.
just so
Oh
many.
gosh,
There was
yeah.
just so many
Oh,
good teams there.
it was such a debate back then about the BCS because we wanted those playoffs because we're gonna talk about some
Yeah.
other teams, but all these teams we're talking about in that era, you only played that one BCS game, and that was an improvement over the old bowl system, which was just you play whatever bowl game you're tied to, and
Hmm.
that was it.
And you just have to
So
hope for the
he's
voters,
hope that the
vote your
hope the
way.
voters take go your way, and that's it. So can you imagine if we had playoffs like we have now? Even the
Ugh,
14 playoff back then, the
ugh.
Sooners, the Tigers, USC, all these guys in a playoff, the best against the best. Oh, tens of millions of dollars out there that the players would have got none of course.
Yeah, yeah. Of course they don't get that. All
All
right.
right, good deal.
Let's go to number nine. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put pressure on you
Mm,
by staying with college football. So
come on.
yeah, yeah.
I
Let's go
love
with
it.
2019 LSU Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
Now LSU
Oh,
at this time became a juggernaut. They're probably the best college team of this decade, and it shows with their
yeah.
offense. They scored 48.4 points per game, led by Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow. You know,
Mm,
name doesn't sound that familiar.
yeah.
Um,
Just some guy. Yes.
he's
Whatever
just a
happened to him.
guy.
Yeah, yeah.
They both won. They won both of their playoff games by a combined.
Oh, Jesus.
Is that right? 105-53.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Okay, wow. They won their they won both of their playoff games by a combined 105-53. A fifth a 15-0 record including the playoffs. They scored more points than any team in this new format. Well, no shit.
I know,
Um,
right? Yeah, seriously, Jesus
um
Christ.
yeah, let's talk
Oh,
about them.
yeah. There were only what, two games that were
Yeah,
close,
there's
and
only
it was the against Bama at
yeah.
Bama.
Mm-hmm.
That was a 10-point win, by the way, and they scored 55, 50, 45. And then you had Auburn at home, who was 10th ranked at the time. They won that by 3 points. Everybody else, 30-point wins, 60-point wins. And this is not against Booty. This is other SEC teams. The Arkansas
Right.
70-14, Texas A&M 52-3,
Oh,
Georgia
Jesus.
in the SEC title game 47-14.
Oh, come on.
I mean, Texas 49-37. So that, not great, but they and then they had a couple of one double A schools or lower level schools in there. They beat Vanderbilt 73-24. I mean, we're talking about a point where they beat Florida 44-28. I mean, it just keeps going. Where it's at a point where it was another team we were watching. I think it was that Golden State team we were talking about, how they only
Mhm.
lost games just because. Like this case, they just did not score 70 points every time just
Just
because.
because.
They if they could put 70 points on Vanderbilt, they could have put 70 points on Georgia Southern. They just just put the guys down. They only put 65 on Northwestern State. They only put 49 on guys. So just don't. And so Joe Exotic, Joe Burrow, with the classic cigar look with the Heisman, he won about 15 awards here. And I'll just for fun, Heisman Trophy, Maxwell Award, Walter Camp, AP Player of the Year, Sportingest Player of the Year, Davey O'Brien Trophy, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm, Manning Award, SEC Offensive Player of the Year. That's just Joe Burrow. Ed Orgeron
Jesus.
won every Coach of the Year award you could as well. Tons of weekly awards, five All Americans, All SEC, half the team. And as far as the NFL draft, if you include the undrafted free agents, I don't want to agree to all this because we want to get things moving here. Quick math, I'm counting 30.
Yeah. that sounds about right. Ugh. I actually didn't know it was that bad because I didn't see this one. I just heard about
Mm,
it, and I was just like, oh, okay, that I LSU. I like LSU. I was like, good for them. I just did not know it was that bad. So
20. Yeah. I mean, 10 guys in the
yeah,
first 3 rounds, 20 guys overall, just
yeah.
in the 2020 draft, which
Jesus
means
Christ.
there's guys that played on this team from 20 that went in 2021, 2022, and so forth
Yeah.
that I'm very sure got drafted. So it's
Yeah.
uh, and
All right.
my God, the my absolute domination. Great pick. Great pick. And I like that we don't have the
Yeah.
recency bias, that the recency of it all.
Right.
That may
Exactly.
be the best football team that's ever played.
That
This is the
is that I
playoff
mean
era.
that yeah, I mean
It's a
it is
playoff
a
era.
great pick. Yeah.
Yeah, because you had it's almost like if you consider the SEC title like a playoff game, because if you lose, you're not going to get to the regular playoffs typically.
No, of course
You
not.
may throw that in. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so let's get more dominance. I'm gonna watch a little take back to my college days when UConn Huskies, the men's team, was kicking butt in
Ooh.
1999. All right, a record of 28-2 before the tournament. They held opponents to under 65 points per game. They were ranked 1, 2, or 3 all year, and were the underdogs of the championship game. This powerhouse team got no respect, as they say, from the AP coaching poll, but Rip Hamilton led the 99 Huskies as they rocketed their way through the year, losing only 2 games, mostly because of injuries. They made
Yep.
easy work of their opponents in the tournament until they faced number one Duke in the
Dude.
finals. Behind Khalid El Amin and Rip Hamilton's 27 points, the Huskies upset the Blue Devils 77-74 in a tight and exciting game, capping off an almost perfect season 30 and 2, 34 and 2.
Hmm.
99 Huskies for Yukon.
Yeah, this was a great team. I loved
Yeah.
watching this team.
Hmm.
They had this style that was just I don't want to say it was a standard half court offense, but it was kind of like that. But
Yes.
they still made it kind of exciting, it was a weird, it wasn't that weird, but it was just it's kind of you can't really describe it. It was just a good offense, especially in the half court. Um, yeah, I just Khalid El Amin was a super beast. I mean, he was only what
Oh
I think
yeah.
6'1", not even 6'1", 6 foot,
Oh yeah.
and he would. But I remember him just always attacking, always
Hmm.
attacking the rim, always attacking certain opponents. Um, I don't know. Again, it was one of those things. When I watched when I watched the finals, the only thing that I can think of is just beat Duke. That's it. Just beat them, and
Oh yeah.
and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And this was one of the more tighter games as far as championship games as well. So
Oh
it
yeah. Very
was
tight
it
game.
was it was a very close game throughout. But yeah, I like this team. And if I'm not mistaken, you might want to
Hmm.
go look it up. I
Sure.
think I think the Lady Huskies won that year as well.
Oh, they may have.
I, I
Yeah.
think they I think they did,
Sure. Well,
but I'm not
if it's
absolutely sure. You can look it up
yeah.
and let me know.
Hmm.
Or maybe it was 2000. I'm not sure. But yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
I remember it was the Huskies were definitely coming into their own around this time.
Oh yeah. Of all teams, right? UConn is the one that's kicking all the butt and
Hmm.
really just destroying guys and all that stuff. But yeah, looking at the tournament, I could see why they kind of started to trail off a bit. It just started to get a little the games are getting closer and closer every time. So while a lot of the teams in this bracket they're showing a lot of grit and determination and all that good stuff, and that's great. It shows that, I mean, it's some really tough competition, and they met the challenge every single time. So it's UConn. I think we were in the dorm room watching this one. The dorm down in and we were so happy Duke lost. We were just elated that Duke managed to lose on the last second. We were freaking out. There was one guy at FAMU that's a Duke guy. He went to his room and started crying. It was hilarious. And as far as any other interesting stats, Richard or Rip Hamilton went number 7 overall in the draft in 1999. Jake Aboskol went to the Bulls in 2000, and Khalid El Amin also went to the Bulls in the year 2000. Both of them in the second round, number 30, 33, and 34.
Yeah.
And Khalid El Amin, because we talked about him, he had a long career playing in Europe, mostly in Turkey, it looked like.
Oh,
He played a little
really?
bit
Really?
in America, and then all largely in Turkey.
Okay.
So, hey, yeah, oh yeah. They largely were only their two losses were in conference in the Big East, and this is back in the Big East was the real Big East, not the.
Yeah.
I mean, the Big East is great now; it's all Catholic schools, and I'm actually fine with that. I think UConn may still be there, but this was the Big East. Had Miami, St. John's, Syracuse was still there,
Right,
Rutgers was
right.
still there, Notre Dame was
Yeah.
in there, Georgetown was in there, uh, Pittsburgh was in there. A lot of these teams have schools have since split, which I think is a shame to other conferences, but for TV rights and more money and all that stuff. But hey, 99 Huskies beat the
Yeah.
Dukies in the end. Nearly perfect season.
Hmm.
You got it. You
And
love to see it.
by the way, it was 2000 when the Lady Huskies won. So it
Okay,
was year
yeah.
2000.
So yeah,
I knew,
so
but
if
I
you're
knew it
still
was
in,
close.
it
Yeah, I
was
knew it
close.
was
Oh yeah.
close.
I mean, it's UConn
Yeah.
Huskies basketball in that era. Either the men or the women were winning, and
All
just
right.
interesting how school. Oh, in Connecticut was getting people. All right, good,
So
good,
number
good.
11. Number 11.
Let's go on down. There's not
I
much left.
see. I see what
Mm-hmm.
you did here. I see you're making me make a choice, which that's kind of messed up, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
I'm gonna go with the
Oh, you're
I
gonna take
think
it? Oh, go ahead.
let's see. If I do the Bruins then of 1972, we already talked about the Bruins a
Okay.
time or two before. Perfect season, perfect team. Talking college basketball, it's UCLA we're talking, right?
Hmm.
1972 was one of 10 national championships, 6 in a row for UCLA at this time, but it could possibly be the best. With Bill Walton leading the charge, the late Bill Walton now leading the charge, a
Hmm.
30-0 season. Only one game was close against Oregon State. The 6 point win, 78-72. The rest complete blowouts. Margin of victory is over 30 points per game. Their
Jesus.
only other close game was the championship game against Florida, where they won by 5 points. So this is what they will call a true 30 for 30 team for the ages, undefeated. 2 games were only just close. The UCLA Bruins, 72.
Now, like I said before, when we were talking about um, Lou Alcindor and that team, this it goes. We can pretty much say the exact same thing for this team,
Oh yeah,
except we substitute Lou Alcindor for Bill Walton.
you're correct.
Um, I don't know. I don't think we can say anything else except again 30-0. Um, Bill Walton absolutely was a dominant um, college player. If Kareem or if Lou Alcindor is not the all-time greatest college player ever, then it's Bill Walton,
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
yeah.
Um,
As far as college, yeah, because I know a lot of times they don't want to give it to the centers because of the height. They figure they're just taught this
right.
bigger than everybody else. But yeah, I think when you just pure college, if you take away the height bias, the anti-height bias, yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah. And to have a margin of victory of over 30 points, that is for an entire season for 30 games, it's unbelievable. I really don't think you can do any better than that. And I
mm.
don't think anyone ever has.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
yeah.
they won. They scored. They put the average score for some of those games. They scored well over 100 points the first six,
Hmm.
7 games. and they were beating teams. Yeah, the Citadel. But they're also beating Texas, TCU, Notre Dame, Texas A&M. A lot of these in some of those little tournaments that they have in the holiday season, things like that. Just blowing guys out completely. Blew out Louisville, blew out Long Beach State back when they were really serious, and then Weber State in the regional
Hmm.
semifinal. It's a yeah, we're no absolute crushing it, and it's like you can almost similar to like the UConn and Tennessee women's teams. You could put several UCLA teams in this and
Right.
say, well, which one of that run is the better? But I almost want to leave that to we want to leave that largely to the UCLA guys and the guys that know those things that can actually compare team to team. Yeah. Because it's
Yeah.
and plus it's like what are we doing for a bracket if we have 64 teams and eight and three of them are like the same program for 24 of them, right? So it's really
I mean,
so
hey, you
I
can't.
liked it.
I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to say that we're wrong? I mean,
Mm-mm.
look at who's on the team. Look at what the team does.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can't
and Bill
help it.
Walton. Oh yeah, and Bill Walton got drafted to the NBA, and to San Diego to the ABA, excuse me. And Henry
Yeah, he got
Bibby
drafted to the
got get
ABA.
drafted. And Bill Walton, Naismith College Player of the Year, Adolph Rupp Trophy, of course,
Hmm.
and the USBWA College Player of the Year. So it's kind of hard to what else do you say when a team is that dominant, except they could be just the best team of all time, the best season
Exactly.
of all time.
All right, let's finish off this list. This is the last. This is the last team that we have. So
Yes.
the last team to complete our list, and again, please remember, you are going to give us six more teams, audience. You're going to give us six more teams
Yeah.
that can be put into this list with what we have right now. So make sure
Exactly.
you're ready to do that pretty soon. So not only are we going to stay in basketball, not only are
Yes.
we going to stay in the year 1972, but we're going to stay in LA.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that something? I like how you
Live
hit
and
that
die
with us.
in LA. It's
Okay.
the
So the
place.
1972 Los Angeles Lakers.
Lakers.
Now, we talk about dominant teams in the NBA. We talk about Chicago and the 96 Chicago Bulls with Jordan. We talk about the Golden State Warriors. We talk about
Mm,
the Lakers of the 2000s. Well, we have to start off with the team that truly was the first greatest single season team ever. Now, this team was special not only in its achievements but its roster. I'm going to
hmm.
start off with Gail Goodrich.
Okay, come on.
I'm going to tell you Gail Goodrich, Pat Riley,
Mm,
Wilt Chamberlain,
good Lord.
the late great Jerry West, the
Oh, the
logo.
logo. Mm,
And I can even tell you about Elgin Baylor, who unfortunately retired at the beginning of the
yeah.
season, though,
Hmm.
due to his multiple injuries. So he did not receive a championship ring, unfortunately, for this season. But this team held records for the best overall season at 69 and 13,
Hmm.
and they hold the longest winning streak by any American sports team ever at 33 games, which still stands today. It took almost 25 years for a team to break their single season record as well, which was the 96 Bulls. And it also broke its longest losing final streak in the NBA. Prior to
Hmm.
this season, the Lakers had lost 8 straight times in the finals. And for a long time, for a long time, this team was known as the greatest NBA team ever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Looking at some of the stuff here, they had it as a top 10 team of all time of NBA history as of 1996 when they did that particular time as well. I don't know if they would still consider that 33 game win streak by itself. They took it to the 96 Bulls, who were another super dominant team
Mm-hmm.
to cap it. And as far as some of the awards, you got Bill Sharman was the coach of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry West got All NBA first team, All NBA defensive first team, and Wilt Chamberlain All NBA defensive first team, and the NBA leader in shooting percentage. So one of the best offensive and best defensive players in the league at the time. Uh, Gentlemen, sweep. What do you want? What are you telling
Again,
me?
you don't need to say anything else. Like those two records
Yeah,
having the 69-13 um, overall record, that thing was up there for 25 years, almost 25 years. And the
yeah.
33 game winning streak, that's not just a NBA record. That is an all American sports team record.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No one has done that.
Oh,
Going 33
absolutely.
games um, winning.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't even know how you can say that they are top 10. They are top five. They're top three in the NBA as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about streaks like that, when you think about who was on the team, and again with eligibility, you have to think about who wasn't on the
Wasn't on
team.
the team. It,
Um, you
it's
know,
it's one of those things with the Lakers in particular that I heard. Like you think of if you had a starting lineup of the five best Lakers, like for each major position, they fool around sometimes
mhm,
with it. You're not defined by who's on there; it's who you're taking off. Yeah, Will
exactly.
Chamberlain or Shaq. One of them is on the bench, or
Right.
Kareem, right? One of them is on the bench, and one of them is potentially not making the team at all, right? It's Kobe and Magic, whatever. One's on the
Yeah,
bench.
who you gonna put on the bench? Like
Who's gonna
really?
put who
Is
you
it
putting
gonna
on the
be
bench?
is it gonna be
Jerry
Kobe
West.
or Jerry West?
Jerry West. Who's going on the bench? It's not. It's people say, and it's just wow.
Now
How do you even get past that? Elgin Baylor. Who's going on the bench? James Worthy. Who's going on the bench?
now I said no,
And who's not
I
even making
said
the
that
team at all?
as
Who's watching from the stand?
exactly. Now I said that as if that was a real question. Of course, Kobe is not going on the bench, but
Yeah, yeah,
still, when you think about the legacy of the Lakers and you think about who is there, I mean, you
yeah,
can't even count out George Mikan. Like there's
yeah,
so many there's so many like awesome players that have um, played for the Lakers who are almost lifetime Lakers that you just can't you again
yeah,
who's not in the starting lineup.
yeah,
That's how
exactly.
you
And then,
understand
and depending
how
on how
rich
you,
they are.
and depending on how you like it, because I know it's late in his career. Do you throw in LeBron if you put LeBron in this mix?
No, you don't.
Who's and so some Lakers fans don't put him in as far as
No,
the great
no,
Lakers. Okay,
no.
okay, okay.
Uh-uh.
Yeah,
He
they're just
doesn't
greatest of all
qualify.
time. But yeah, yeah. All right, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, so I think that does it. I think that does it. Does it not?
That does it.
Oh yeah, boy.
So yeah, so just to wrap up this list that we did today, we have the 1990 UNLV Running Rebels, the 1992 Pittsburgh Penguins,
Mm,
the 2020 Oregon Lady Ducks, the 2002 LA Sparks, the 1978 Pittsburgh Steelers, the 1986 Boston Celtics, the
yes.
2008 Memphis Tigers, the 2000 Oklahoma Sooners football, the 2019 LSU Tigers football,
Hmm.
1999 UConn Huskies, the 1972 UCLA Bruins, and the 1972 Los Angeles Lakers. Now,
Excellent.
ladies and gentlemen, we have a list here of 58 teams. We have
Yes.
58 of the most dominant, the most fighting, comeback, and the most electrifying teams that you have ever had. But we still need six more teams. So this is up to you now. We have six slots to fill to make a
Hmm.
64 list. And we want you to tell us who are the other teams that look like teams like this. And again,
That's right.
we want to reiterate, we are looking for the greatest single season teams. We're not looking
Greatest
for
single
scrubs.
season.
We're not looking for scrubs. We're not looking for
Mm-hmm.
pretty good teams. We're not looking for teams that uh, you like because you went to high school with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
No, we
Mm-hmm.
want some
Mm-hmm.
great teams out here. And also please remember that we are keeping this uh, basically North American pro teams.
Yeah.
So we're
Major
looking
sport-ish.
for
Yeah.
only the major sports. So we're looking for
Yeah.
NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, WNBA, NHL, college football, college basketball, women's college basketball.
There we
And I
go.
think
Yeah.
and I think that was all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
We
was
we
all of
we
them.
appreciate that you got a curling team in Winnipeg that has owned the game for ages, but we'll figure out a new way to get them in next time. I appreciate that they're there. We appreciate it. That's right.
Yeah, because we like the curling. Right,
Yeah, I'm
right.
sure. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you got that bowling team in Vermont that has just owned the leagues for ages or whatever. We appreciate it. That's okay. That's okay.
And so next week we are going to actually have what we like to call the selection show, which actually isn't a selection show
Not
because
really. It's
this
like
was the
just
selection.
yes,
But we're the pairing show. We're going to pair
pairing
all
the
these
seed.
teams
Yes, the
up,
pairings. No
and
seedings.
no seedings for this one.
No.
We're just going to pair them up, and we're
Just
going to
pair
put
it
them
up.
in brackets. And once we do that, this is when we will go to the Facebook page and we will vote for every round. We will vote for every region, and we will see you vote for these teams. So once we have the next 6 teams, we will announce those teams when we do the pairing show,
Hmm.
and we will get them all going and we will find out what happens.
Here we
So
go.
get ready, you guys.
Oh
I'm
boy, here
ready.
we go. This is gonna
Yeah,
be
I'm
fun.
ready.
This is
I'm
gonna
ready to
be
see.
something else. Oh, there's gonna be
I hope I'm not
arguments and cigar
disappointed.
lounges, arguments
Uh-huh.
everywhere. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. All
All right,
right.
so I guess that is it for today's episode. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Please hit notifications. And again, write us. We'll have all our information in the
Yeah, in the script.
description.
In the
If you
script.
want to
Yeah.
write us on Facebook, if you want to write us on Instagram, you can do so. Otherwise, leave your comments down below. Tell us what teams that we missed. This is
Yeah,
your
and we'll
chance to
and we'll
fill
get
it
in the
out.
yep, we'll have it in the comments on the Facebook page. We'll find it and we'll figure out which 6 teams we're gonna put in there, get them all paired up. Looking forward to it.
All right, so that is it for this episode. I bid you adieu, and thank you guys very much.
All right. Peace.